Hey, what's going on, Friday Night Live crew? It is I, Christopher Rausch, your No Excuses coach here, having a special broadcast live from Pismo Beach, California, Central California, to where I am normally located, and happen to have the opportunity to be sitting here with my beautiful bride, my wife. Hello, say hello. So this is live, raw, and unscripted here, the Friday Night Live show with you guys. We just got literally in the hotel room. I'm not kidding you. I just literally held my bladder for about an hour and 45 minutes to get here to make sure that we could broadcast live for you guys here at 5 o'clock. So we're going to keep the show a little bit short tonight and just kind of talk about a little bit of what your concerns are that are going on in the world today. And I'm just waiting for my beautiful co-host, Mr. Scott Goyette, to join us. He seems to be having some technical difficulties. So he is telling me, hang on one second. You're just going to have to deal with this live. Let's see if we can do this. I'm trying to make sure he's in here. Let's just try that. Let's see if that works. Yeah, you do have a link. Yeah, I sent it to you. I texted it to you. Come on now. Jesus, this is the kind of talent I'm dealing with. I'm telling you, Jesus Christ. So anyway, no, we promised you guys a short show and full of impact and rawness and vulnerability, and I think that's kind of what we really need in this world right now. There's oh, there he is, Mr. Scott. You ready? You're good. You take a drink, you pee, just do your nails. All right, this is interesting because I'm doing this on my iPad, ladies. So add to stream. So I'm doing this on my iPad. What's up, Mr. Scott? How are you, brother?
That's a great question. Like the real answer or the answer we always give? Which one?
The real fucking answer, dude.
The real answer is not feeling okay at all. And typically, we say we're fine. We work through it because we're the people who are supposed to be here for everybody else. And I will add this: I am okay because my I am statements know that I'm okay. But in this moment, I certainly do not feel okay at all.
Right.
So,
in which
there's just a lot going on, dude.
Yeah. What is okay for you?
Just not grounded, not there. When you're using all the tools that we're giving people, but sometimes the inability to zip up yourself and the inability to be able to deflect a lot of what's coming at you, because sometimes we overextend ourselves doing the things that we do. I'm just exhausted, and some of those emotions sneak up on you because like we always talk about, at the base of everything is feelings, and then those feelings turn into emotions. And I think right now I'm starting to get some of those emotions sneaking up at me because while we are simultaneously in so much service to so many other people, I haven't had time to process my own emotions, and they're sneaking up on me. So I've definitely got some sadness, some anger, and I'm not sure if I want to cry or punch somebody in the face. So.
Well, it is, and thank you for sharing that, man. I mean, I messaged you earlier and I said I just want to have a real show tonight because, given the things that are going on in the world and the things that are going on in the universe that you and I share currently, that we can't talk about publicly, is some really heavy stuff that's going on in the world. And rather than trying to come at it from this raw standpoint like we normally do, which is good, we want to provide inspiration to people. I think, based on the question that both you and I asked on our Facebook page, is like, what are you guys struggling with? What are some of your top concerns? I know you got some replies. I know I got some replies, and just trying to better understand, be in service to everybody who's here. Cindy and Glenda, you guys are amazing. Thank you guys for spending our time with us, especially here on Friday night. What are your, hey, what's up, Randy? Good to see you, man. I know for me tonight, I got emotional. We were driving up through Los Angeles. As I told you, we came up here to Central California, and my wife can attest to this right here. I've been through Los Angeles thousands of times. And I've seen the homeless on the streets, and I've seen, all that. I have never before in my life, ladies and gentlemen, seen so many communities of people living off the side of the freeway, like literally on little parts of hills. Just makeshift little, any stretch or strand of anything you can get to cover up is on these people's houses. I mean, the places where they're living in it. Scott, I literally got choked up. I was just driving by going, wow, in a world that we have that is so abundant and so technologically advanced, so this and that, we have people that are just literally living on the side of a freeway to survive here in the United States. And it broke my heart. I literally was like this. I mean, I don't know, man. There's just a lot of heaviness in the world. And I think we're human, having those experiences and just trying to impart to the rest of the world, like, hey, you're not alone. I mean, even if we have the answers or we have, the guidance in that we're just like the rest of you guys. We're sometimes just in the middle of it, trying to figure it out too.
Yeah. We're sitting here in a space where one of the questions we've got to ask ourselves are, what are we responsible for? And it's very easy to say, I've done my work, I busted my ass, and I'm here for a reason, and I'll throw a nickel here or time over here, or, I care about you, but I can't babysit you. And I hear, and I'm saying those words semi-harshly, but I hear those words quite often. And, I've got friends in different political arenas. I got friends in different, groups, like quite a few, like different people, very different. And I'm trying to figure out, where do the words competition and cooperation merge? Because the result of what we're seeing right now is competition, and the stock market and the economy's good and whatever the fuck that means. And I'm really getting sick and tired of it. Like, and for me to say fuck right now with that passion, that I don't say that here, I hold back, and I'm fucking pissed off. Like, I really am. I'm sick and tired of this shit. Like, I'm at a point where, we sit here and we say everything that people need to hear, and we support people, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to be that person. But right now I just want a moment, because I'm exhausted. And I'm exhausted because those people are sitting there because of a system that they're a byproduct of, so that we can say we did our best, or well, that they didn't take the opportunity, or they didn't try hard enough, or all that bullshit. And I'm really tired of it. And I'll tell you an example. I was coming back from a speech that I did in Paris, Texas. If you know where Austin is to Paris, you go up through Dallas and then you turn right, essentially, and drive. It's a long trip. It's 4 hours. And so essentially about an hour or so from Dallas, an hour and a half from Dallas. So when I came back through Dallas, I saw some homeless people, and every once in a while, I just do something, just jump into a community, or I just do random things. I'll sit somewhere for a half a day with just random people. I've done it like in my travels. I sat with these two people under a bridge and just started talking to them. And I sat there and I bought them a few drinks, and we just sat and just hung out. It's a husband and a wife. And he was telling me a story. He had some mental issues. He had served in the military, and his issues were like, PTSD, and he had some anxiety. And his wife had some medicines that she needed. And I forget if she was diabetic or what, but just a lot of crap where they were on a list to supposedly get public housing, but they couldn't quite get it. And so they're sitting there, living there. And so since then, I've been back to Dallas a few times. It's been a good year and a half since I've been back to see them, but I stopped to visit them 2 other times, and they were still waiting. And I'm listening to them. They're like, I'll do what it takes. I'll work, whatever. But they're both disabled, and they're living under a bridge. And recently somebody had said something like they moved all those people from the bridges. I'm thinking, where did these people go? And these are human beings who I get the idea that you've got to work your ass off to earn something and contribute to society. I hear it, but there's so many of us who turn a blind eye to these people, and I'm just exhausted with it. I'm literally just disgusted with humanity right now. I'm really disgusted with people. Like, I don't know.
No, I feel you, dude. I mean, that's exactly what I was surprised to see, was like, wow, this is where we're at already, in just the time I've seen the changes in Los Angeles, the changes in Southern California, and knowing what's coming next, after the rent, situation is off the books, and people can be evicted and everything. It just broke my heart to think that these are human beings that are this is where they can live. And it just reminded me of like all the commercials that you see, the Sarah McLachlan, and it's like, yeah, we're becoming a third world country, and what do we have the capacity for to help and heal each other and be more and we realize that we're more similar than we are different. And I know that one of the things that you posted earlier was about fear and about how to use fear as a springboard. Talk to us a little bit about that, because I know that from the post that I read, and I have a couple to read, a lot of it really does surround fear and uncertainty. I mean, that not not knowing component. And you and I both know we're dealing with a situation where there's absolute uncertainty at this particular point, and it's frustrating and it's unnerving. But what are your thoughts on that, and being able to use that pandemonium, that energy to be a springboard for something better?
So you always hear the term of we have to let people hit rock bottom before they can kind of jump up and rebound. So if fear is a point on a scale of emotion and it's a low level point, then it's a great opportunity for us to use that as a springboard to something that's higher. And so I would say if the polar opposite of fear is love, we have an opportunity to dig our feet into that fear. And just like in a squat, just a big power jump up, and we can just go up and reside in love. And how we need to do that is we need to move through it. And so moving through it, this is where we're failing. In that fear, we're taking base camp. We're sitting in that and we're othering. So while I'm in the fear, I'm saying the reason those people don't have money is they didn't try hard enough. We gave them a chance with education. I don't know why they're still complaining. We did this for them and they still can't figure it out. We're doing things to justify our own behaviors. And we love justifying. Here's what I would say. What can we do to say, let's blame no one for nothing, for no thing. Let's blame no one for no thing.
Blame no one?
Blame no one.
I love that.
So just come into our own heart. Yeah, so right now, okay, so we've got somebody who's homeless, okay?
Right.
So whatever led things to this point, okay? Let's say there's trash on the ground, there's homeless, there's all these things we can fix. Whatever led up to it, shut up. Pick the trash up now, make sure that person's fed, find them an opportunity. I don't give a shit whose fault it is. I don't care that you don't like this leader. I don't care that you think this person was wrong. I don't care that you think taxes are too high. Fix it right now. When we hear the word present all the time, come to presence, be present. Quick question. Here's a simple question. You're sitting driving down the freeway right now, and you're sitting there with a friend, and the friend's going, oh my God, when I used to live here, this city was never this dirty. Can't believe all those people were throwing trash all over the place. Are you kidding me? You see the trash. Pick the fucking trash up. If you see it and you don't do anything about it, then you're the problem now. Whoever put it there, I don't care. Pick it up and then say, well, somebody else will put it back. Okay? Then start educating. There's phase 2. I'm so tired of the bullshit of people that have led us to this point. It's so old. And we've got people sitting here saying, you know, Biden's bad, his son's this, and Trump's amazing. I just shut the, oh my God. Chris, I've literally, I'm sitting here and I always sit here and I say the right things and I do the right thing. I'm tired. I'm tired because if I hear one more excuse from some person on why they can't be a good person, or, well, if this person didn't do this, I would do this. Stop the contingency bullshit. Right now, pick up the trash if you see it. Right now, do something about that homeless person, whether it's in the moment of serving them or taking action to figure out why are they there? Is there a certain vote? Do we need more housing? Do we need more education? What is it? Do one thing, put one foot in front of the other to make the change, and I'll leave you alone. Exactly. But if you're not doing that, shut up.
Exactly. It. And beautifully said, dude. Beautifully said. I love the passion. I mean, that's what my wife and I were talking about. She goes, what is it? You know, for me being a former homeless person, never in that particular situation, I said, but it becomes a situation of mental health. And obviously you and I are very familiar and very close to that situation. Right. So now, when you think about mental health, like these people are committing crimes, they are reaching out, they're acting in a way that's in defiance, because what do we learn as kids? We learn that if we do things great, yeah, we get acknowledged every once in a while, but every time if we do something bad, we get punished. So that negative reinforcement continues for the rest of our life. Oh, I got more attention. Hey, I ran away. I remember I ran away and I got busted by the police and I got home and there was the entire neighborhood out there. I got all sorts of attention. I didn't get any attention when I came home with a B for math, which was pretty impressive for me. So we get absorbed in the negative attention situation, and that just drives us fucking further bananas, right? And it's just really, when I was driving down the freeway, I was just like, what's next, and who's next, and how far are we all away from that particular situation, and what can we do collectively? Like you said about picking up the trash, it's like, people sit there and bitch about this shit. I'm like, well, what can you do? If we all pick up one piece of trash, if 7 billion people picked up one piece of trash every single day, how much more beautiful would the world be? I mean, right?
And we make it sound like it's this crazy thing. Well, even if I pick those things up, it's going to happen again. And we just make up these bullshit excuses. Be the first one. Start a show like this. Start talking about it. There's something interesting that I always look at when people call things science and permanent science. And so for a long time, addiction was believed. They had done some studies on rats. And the rats, if they put a rat in a cage and they had water with cocaine or methamphetamines in it and water without it, the rat eventually would continue to go to the one with methamphetamines, become an addict, and eventually kill itself. And so that became the reality. So that's how addiction was treated, based on this methodology that a rat would choose it. That's the way human minds work. If given the opportunity to do drugs, they will do it. And then there were two polarities. You had one group, the right was saying, well, that was just bad behavior. If these people didn't have bad behavior, they'd be fine. The left were saying they were predisposed. They have, a very addictive complex within them. So once they choose it, they're screwed. So both groups are blaming something on the individual. They're saying it's something individual. Have you seen the new study? The most beautiful study is what they did was they set up rat paradise. They essentially had a bunch of rats, spinning wheels. They had, the rats can have sex, run around, have fun. It's rat paradise. They put the same two things
Hedonism.
in there. It's hedonism. It's Club Med for rats. And they put cocaine water and regular water. And guess what? In rat paradise, guess what the rats did? The rats did not choose the cocaine water.
They sold it and they capitalized on it, put a brand on it, and made millions of dollars.
They didn't do it at all. So they just drank the water, Chris. And so the point proven here is what was happening is it's your container. So when we sit here in a space where a person's in an abusive household, or a person is in a neighborhood that nobody cares about you, nobody funds your schools, you're in a container that you feel useless. So you're going to do drugs, you're going to commit crimes, you're going to feel like nothing. We are creating the addiction and the crime, and then we're blaming. It's that simple. And so if we can see this with rats and we can see this with humans, why are we still playing this old game? Why are we creating this dichotomy? You bad, me good. It's bullshit. It's this simple. If we improve the containers, we improve the surroundings of people because we give a shit, all of this goes away. It literally does. And the reason we don't want to do it is because then who do we control to run our corporations? Who do we control to do the things that we want? At some point, this has to end, and it starts with us. It starts with picking up one piece of trash. It starts with having your own show. It starts with changing the dynamics of how you teach as a teacher. You don't do this shit where you fall into this game. This game is old. And so, yeah, I don't know if you notice I'm different today. You picked up on that?
Yeah, you got a haircut.
Yeah, that, and I've got a beer. My wife just brought me a beer because she could hear me out there yelling. Probably thought I wanted to.
Hey, well, I've got In and Out, so I'm enjoying what it's all about. What it's all about.
I love it.
Guess what it is? The bottle's over there.
So Chris, let's talk about that then. So there's my take on the whole thing with fear of how to use it as a springboard. What we want to do is we want to see it as a baseline emotion that we can jump up and leap off of that. You got to work through it. It doesn't just disappear. You got to move through it. It's scary. So what do you think? Like, what else can we do as a world? What can individuals do? What can we do for ourselves, for the collective, to get through that fear and get to a place of love? Because we need to do it now, in this present moment.
Hold that question, because I might have to have you repeat that, but I just want to acknowledge everybody who's here tonight, because we have some amazing people. We have Glenda, we have Susan. Thank you so much for being here, Susan. Cindy, thank you so much for being here. Robert, we have you here. Emilio, thank you so much. Thank you for passing through. And Susan Hamill. Who's Susan Hamill?
My mother.
Yeah, no, we're not. We have Darlene. Darlene, I mean, seriously, Darlene, thank you for all the likes. I mean, you're just blowing up my everything. She's like, I like this video, and I commented. She's like a Christopher thing. I'm not sure. It's kind of creepy, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Glenda said, "What the? Whoa! Shut the. How do I? I'm doing this. Hey, that's weird. I'm doing this from my iPad. So look at that. Shut the fuck it. All bullshit. I know, Scott. Right on.
I think she was agreeing with me.
I think so. Eric Swanson says, right on, Scott. Mom says, watch your mouth. You will go to bed without dinner. No. And Paul said not to hold back. Ooh. So you're be given permission. Right. I love this. Eric says NDSO. It was like New Kids on the Block, but no drama serving others. That was his boy band. Eric Swanson was in a boy band called No Drama Serve Others. That was a beautiful boy band, dude. It was a cappella. It was something like that. So we got rats mimic our behavior. Ooh. Yeah, they do. Exactly. That's why they keep testing on them. Look at Darlene. She's a sweetheart. Darlene, thank you. You really are amazing. So, sorry, back to your question, Scott. What was it?
Just throwing at you, right back at what you'd said to me, more or less, is we've got fear. We know it's a low level emotion. And I don't mean that as far as, a negative or positive. It's a base level emotion. When we move up to love, we can use that as a springboard. Now, that doesn't mean that we bypass. There's no spiritual bypassing. There's no emotional bypassing. Mm-hmm. So how do we go from that place of fear to love? I'm throwing it back at you. How do we use it as that springboard? Because I just gave a few examples, some ideas. What do you think?
For me, when I think about fear of regret. And I think about, okay, I need leverage now to help propel me to the point where I don't have that regret later on in life, whether it's 2 minutes from now or, 17 years from now. I was just telling Barb, I said, literally, it's kind of freaky, but we just left Jackson at home for 2 days. This is our first time, us both being away. And I'm like, oh my God, if we get into an accident, there's so many things going through my mind that have never gone through my mind before. And I'm like, wow, things can really change. So for me, it's a matter of trusting that, having the belief, right? Patricia, we love Patricia. Patricia, I hope you're watching, but believe. Like for me, Scott, honestly, as messed up as things could possibly be, I'm not afraid. I am faithful and positive that it is all going to work out as it should and for the betterment of the people who are involved who want to make it good. Because, listen, I didn't get that tattooed on my arm that says, if it doesn't kill me, it makes me stronger.
Is that new?
No.
I'm just being a jerk.
I know. Yeah, no,
I am a jerk.
So no, you're not. No, but that's literally what I put it on myself because fear can overcome us. Fear can overtake us. But realistically, like I asked my wife tonight, I'm like, examine what you're afraid of, and then on paper say how much influence or control do you have over the outcome of what it is that you're afraid of. And 99% of the time, you're going to find that you don't have any control over it. And that most times, if you look at the studies, 98% of most fears are never realized. So we are killing ourselves with the stress. We are killing ourselves with the immobilization of what could possibly be because we're scared of what's never going to happen, right? When I look outside and we go outside from Facebook, we go outside from the news, and I get her to see this. She's outside with the door closed so I can talk about her and she's going to watch the show anyway. It's like life is normal. People are out there being cool to each other. I have people being cool to me every single day on the walking path. People aren't divisive. It's just that small, super minuscule segment of the world that we think is a representation for everybody else. So for me, it's like, and it still reminds me of this, Scott, and I'll end it with this because I'm so passionate about this. Moments. Like we were driving and we had silence and we were listening to the radio and I was just like chilling. I was thinking about what we're all thinking about, you and I were thinking about, and I was just like, and so I'm like, what are you thinking about? And she told me about this, like I'm thinking about, if we go to World War and and like just all this different stuff. And I'm like, wow, babe, you're like really thinking some deep stuff. And we started talking about it, and I didn't want to put it in such a way that I was coming across as trying to manipulate her in any way, shape, or form. But she's like, I really can't do anything about it. And I'm like, when we were talking about the other day, we were talking about planting seeds. You plant seeds and you hope that the people you love every once in a while will water it themselves and go, hey, I can't be afraid of what I don't have control over. But guess what? For the next 5 minutes, for the next 5 hours, for the next 5 weeks, I can really be in that moment and embrace that and not be afraid of whatever happens, because whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And it's part of the grand plan. So for me, that's what I hold on to, Scott. It's so amazing for me to say that, honestly, but that's all part of the journey and the discovery we're all on.
100%. And one of the things I would invite everybody to do too is, right now that, like I said, I was clear as day saying that I'm feeling fear. I'm sorry, I'm feeling sadness and some anger. And so in that, one of the reasons I brought that up is so that I can move through that, move through that together with you guys, because you guys are our family. So I think it's important. And anytime you guys come on the show and you want to move through something like that, do it with us. We're sharing something, we're talking about a lesson. I know you do. I know everybody here does, because we get the messages back. We see that.
I've got a few. I want to share a few.
Let's do it.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, and because I know you put out the same question to your group, so I saved it in my photos.
I've got mine in my brain. I can share them back.
I won't release names. I mean, obviously it was public, but it says, to be honest, I'm just tired, broken, and feeling like I don't know what to do anymore. This is God's honest truth. This is quotable. It's public record. To be honest, I am just tired, broken, and I'm feeling like I don't know what to do anymore. I'm hurting physically and mentally exhausted. I'm actually at the end of my rope. That's one answer. Somebody else has said, weighing on my mind is that I have a concussion for almost 3 weeks now, and I'm wondering if I'll ever feel like myself again. I mean, who isn't thinking about that? One of the other ones was, this one's a little bit longer. Every day I allow myself to step into the pain and the grind most people are experiencing. I only give myself 30 minutes to an hour because if I gave it more, I would go into fixer mode. In those daily moments, I worry on the upcoming winter season. Are we going to have a colder winter than normal in years past? I've already noticed new homeless people in the community. I worry for the elderly and the children who will suffer more in cold, harsh weather. States in the northern send their homeless to states in the south or places like Hawaii or Puerto Rico. By doing so, it puts a burden on the local economy. However, here in North Texas, I fully believe that weather is going to be very, very harsh. And she goes on to talk. And then somebody else says, what's weighing on my mind are a lot of things, to be honest. I don't even know where to begin. My mind, I can see this is a big blob. So obviously, Scott, I mean, people are they're feeling with the overwhelm of not being in control, being uncertain, of being at the mercy of other situations outside of themselves, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, how can we help them?
Well, here I'm gonna share something real quick too. And one of the ways that there's a lot of ways to help them, and we share a lot of that in the Love and the Fear model. We share that in our coaching. But one of the things I want to be clear about is when people are in low vibe emotions, when people are in fear, when people are in anger, and people are in sadness, they cling to their perceived identity. And I've given this analogy so many times where I say, imagine if all truth and all answers are in the middle of the river and a flood comes and we just keep holding on to a tree. By holding on to that tree, that old identity, all those emotions, eventually we're going to become exhausted, float in the river and drown. When the truth lies floating into the river and going to where it's going to bring us, but we haven't surrendered and trusted yet. So what I'm seeing is a lot of people right now who are really clinging to old identity. Even if they don't truly believe it's true, they hold on to it because it's what they believe that they know. So I'll give you examples of some of the things people shared on my Facebook page. One friend, he's gay, and so his mom worked as the assistant for Pat Robertson. So the most evangelical, ultra, super conservative. And so she's always like, it's just a passing thing. He's like, no, Mom, I divorced my wife. I'm definitely really gay. It's not like I'm kind of gay. It's not a choice. I'm gay. I am gay, period. And so, the conversations I have with him, when he talks through that with me, it just feels really sad to me. Feels really sad that, he's sitting here being judged by that. And she's like, you'll get over it. It will work through. I pray for you every day. You're going to be okay. That just must be crushing. And so he said that he's starting to work through that. And I'm happy for him. But I can't imagine what both of them are feeling, because she's holding on to that tree saying, if I say that it's okay, and my beliefs say that he's not a good person because he's doing this, then God sees me, I'm screwed. And she can't even love her own son enough to accept him because of this effing tree she's holding on to. He's sitting here saying, I want to love my mom, but what the fuck is wrong with her? And he's stuck. And you've got two people who are trying to accept one another, but old identities are in the way. So here's what I see happening right now. The reason COVID hit, the reason all these shakeups are hitting, is we're sitting in our own mind for longer. When you sit in your own mind long enough and you sit and you meditate or you be, and you're in a space where you start to think, one of two things happen. Either you lose your shit and people are drinking more or committed suicide or doing things, or you get centered. And when you get centered, you start to say, why am I holding on to this tree? There's a river right there that's clearly going somewhere. I see people going by me, okay. Every time someone lets go of the tree, they let go and they die because they're in pure exhaustion. And we get off autopilot. Autopilot is, I got to do this. Letting go is the choice. And the minute we make the choice to say, I'm going to release my old identity and I'm going to start writing my story right now. Some scary shit. So that would mean today, I'm going to decide, is this the religion I believe in? Based on, I'm going to study it right now, like it's brand new. I'm going to study, why do I think that the world revolves around love? Why do I think oneness is a real thing? I'm going to study it like it's brand new right now. I'm going to write the story right this second. I'm not going to wait for 5 minutes from now. I'm not going to hold that tree any longer. I'm floating down the river. I'm going to write that story with you right now. And if something I say today is wrong, it's not a problem. It's a learning opportunity. As I'm floating down the river, then I'm going to learn more. By the time I get to the sea, I'm going to be filled with beautiful knowledge. But I'm certainly not going to hold on to this old identity. And I'm certainly not going to be the person who holds back society from growing. It's not going to happen at all. And I hope that people hear this. So I'm fired up.
Well, can you just repeat that last part?
What, like the last 30 minutes? From where? From the tree or from the middle of the river?
No, dude, watch. You're gonna see the comments. People love your fire. People love your fire. That's good. I mean, that's awesome because that's what I said for tonight. And I told you this. I know you can't see. That's why I put my glasses on. Accepting that you have fear does not mean that you live in it or from it. It Absolutely comes not. To the fact that it is part of the trickle down info, but it is your choice at the time of that intersection of one's choice or the tapes as humans we are ingrained with. Yes, exactly. I mean, it's totally the way it is. Cindy said, thank you for being here, Cindy. One thing we all need to have is support. One thing we all need to have others support each other is to carry us through the challenging. Hey, Barb. Hey, Barb.
Hi, Barb's head.
Hey, Barb's head. Hey, Barb's head.
Welcome, Barb's head.
Say hi.
Hi.
You're live. You're live. 10 billion people. Oh, say, huh? I'll be right there. I promise before dark.
Only 7 billion people in the world, but we have 10 billion on here because we got some aliens too.
Exactly. One thing we all need to have other support each every day to carry us through the challenging time. Then we can breathe through until we get over the fear. Faith in others helps. Absolutely. Absolutely. Serena. Who's Serena? Do you know Serena? Serena girl keeps following us around. I'm feeling off filtered today. Does not happen often, but it does. What is off filtered? I would be very curious to find out, Serena. Thank you very much for being here. Yeah, Scott and I both are feeling off filtered.
Well, we were supposed to meet. Serena and I were supposed to meet today, and I wasn't. A lot of reasons we're not. You know why we're not. I wasn't able to tell her why I fully couldn't.
Because you weren't dressed.
Because I what?
You weren't dressed.
No, I'm dressed.
No, before you were out in the middle of the street naked. Just tell the groups that. That's what's going on. Yes. Just with you. Yeah. She says, yes, Scott, you are you are beautiful. And see, look at him. He's like, I like that. No, serving the homeless today was rough for me as they have been displaced and I had to go looking for them big time. It was sad to see all my homeless crew displaced. No, the pictures you posted, Serena, were just horrible.
Yeah. And you had a few of those people that you were trying to follow to see where they went. I remember from last week. So this is the week follow-up for that. Yeah, this has been a hard time. No question.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it really is. It really is, Scott. And it's like, for me, I just, for me, it's about legacy. You've heard me talk about it so many times. Like, even today, and I'll be transparent with all you guys. My wife can't hear me. I'm 51, getting 52 in February. And this is the first time that Barb and I have been away from our son. Last year in January, I was away from her 5 days when I had back surgery. Otherwise, I've not been away from Jackson for this long ever. And it breaks my heart because I'm thinking, like, you only get so many moments in this world. I'm like, am I being selfish going off with my wife and having a few days by myself? But saying goodbye to him, and I look at life differently. And I think about Eddie Van Halen. I think about now Jeff Bridges. you know, and I just think about all the different people that have these things that happen, and these people are passing away. And I'm like, am I saying goodbye to my cat? Am I saying goodbye to my dog for the last time? And as sad as that is to say, it is super beautiful at the same time, because how many times do we think that we're going to get to say goodbye to somebody for the last time, and we don't? And so for me, I'm choosing to see this as a beautiful time to go. I mean, looking at my dog, I got my dog's eye. I'm like, if for some reason I don't come back, I love you. You're my best friend. I will adore you for the rest of my life. I will come back and haunt you. And I said the same thing to Jackson. I'm like, Jackson, whatever I said, I'm not making it grim, but I was like, I love you. Anytime you hear Daddy say, I love you, I love you, I love you, because I always say it 3 times, I'm with you. And even my cat Vixen is almost like 20 years old. I'm like, I love you, sweetie, you know, God forbid. So for me, I'm choosing to make these times like just more impactful for who I am and what I'm supposed to be about, right? I mean, what do you think about that?
Oh, dude, I mean, I'm so on board with that. I mean, you always use the word moments. I use the word presence. You know, we're always talking about the exact same thing. Yep. And one of the things that I do that I'm less efficient than I want to be, but is being present, because I'm always trying to build things to make sure that I'm teaching people to be present, and sometimes forgetting to be present. But, you know, when I get back into it, like you said, I mean, when I'm sitting in the moments, like, I can't tell you how many times during a day I sit and look around and say, wow. Like, I'm not just preaching that. Like, I do it. We were talking about the autopilot, like the person sitting here, that's the autopilot getting into the river. I feel like I'm in the river and going, holy crap, look at that. Like, whoa, check that shit out. Oh my God, there's a salmon. I didn't know sharks could live in rivers. Like, I'm just like, my whole life, I'm just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I do it all the time, where I'm just like, this is the real world in a good way. I think my frustration comes when I'm looking at so many other people who aren't seeing that, and who are only trying to say me, without saying like, hey, would you like to have some of this with me? You know, could I share this with you? Could I offer you some, whatever brilliance is mine? Could I offer you some of what I own? Or I get sad or angry when I feel like there's so much opportunity for this beautiful world that's just based in gratitude. And so that is my problem. You know, I've got to learn to deal with that. And today it's got me overwhelmed, but I'm so in agreement with the fact that, man, these moments, like right now, you know, I'm so glad I'm here, because I know there's people who need to hear this stuff. You're about to go have this, you know, you're here, but in a few minutes, you're going to go have a beautiful 13th anniversary weekend with your wife, you know, in a beautiful place near Santa Barbara. I mean, it's just nonstop. Like, there's so many good things, even when we're in a place that's not a good place, that we perceive as not good. Us being there to like help people and raise the energy or provide something positive is the good. We can, Viktor Frankl, I mean, you can be the good in what's perceived as the bad.
Dude, he has come like 3 times this week in different conversations.
He should.
He's come like, without me saying shit. People have said, you know what you need to know is about Viktor Frankl. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, if you guys out there in TV land, YouTube land, if you don't know who Viktor Frankl is and you don't know the story, man, search for meaning. If you want a real ass kicking in the way your perspective is, read that book. I promise you, I almost guarantee you, you're going to walk away from that book going, oh. So I'm choosing to feel like shit when I could really be in the worst condition of my life and choose to still see it as a positive situation. Absolutely. And it's brutally amazing how we take our option to choose if we're going to be happy or sad.
Yeah.
I actually asked myself this question the other day. I wasn't going to hit you with this, but I'll hit it with for a second for people to consider. Can you have conflicting points of view? Can you sit there and say, I'm super happy and I'm super sad? Can you have those points of view at the same exact time? No, yeah. I don't think you can. Can you?
I think this. I think that you could be super happy and sadness comes in and you've got to work through it. Like simultaneously, like, yeah. I guess my point is, if I'm having the best day ever and something bad happens and all of a sudden I'm sad, then I can go through that sadness and come back out to the happiness. But once one infiltrates, I have to move through it. The problem is when something makes you sad in the middle of happiness, people say that's it. And they call it like the wall, like I'm sad, it's over. I mean, I watched it happen with my grandmother. My uncle died and she said, that's the end of my life. There were so many parts of her life that were beautiful. When I was with her and I was together with her, it was always the most beautiful time. She always had such a great time in so many spaces, but she decided that because he was no longer here, she could no longer function. And so that's, yeah, we don't need to go down that road. I want to honor Barbara and your vacation time right now. So one of the things that we were going to do with everybody is why don't we close out on the fear real quick? So we gave you guys some thoughts about first and foremost, springboard being fear, understanding that it's a low vibe emotion, that when you push your feet down into it, you can spring off it. Now, when you do that, you have to go through that emotion or those emotions that you're working through. There's no spiritual bypassing. There's no emotional bypassing. You need to work through them. What that means is when you feel afraid, be afraid. Use it. Don't let it hold you down. You keep moving through it. So if you've ever looked at like a football player when they're in practice and they're leaning against one of those things and running through it, that's what you're doing. You're saying, I see you, fear. Let's play this game. And you're going to lean into it and you're going to just tear right through it. So we've got that. And the other thing that Chris and I wanted to talk about really quickly is there's about 500,000 shows called Friday Night Live. And I feel like they all started at COVID. Everyone, was like, all right, let's start a show around COVID. And so they're all called that. We want to rename our show. And so what we want to do is, what do you think of? What are the adjectives, the verbs, the emotions, the feelings that come to mind? Is there something to do with the wall, like writing on the wall? Is there something like a celebration of growth? Is there something that you think this show that should be called? If there is, you can start sharing them now. If there's a certain word or whatever. One of the things you can do is in this show itself, comment and throw what you guys think. But we're going to come up with a name in the next week or so. Could you hold on a second? Could you
what? Listen, old man.
I need the glasses. I know. Can you accept the perception is that you are available for those that see you and you are looking for who you are now? That your offerings of who you are obvious to those who are really looking. Marley, you're right on point. And I think one of the things that we do as humans, so I'll tell you something I was thinking of recently. When we first conceptualized the idea that we need to be in service, speaking of service, Serena just popped up, and she's somebody who just lives for service. Once we know that brilliance and your true purpose, your true why comes in service, once you know that, what we want to do is we want to magnify it as much as we can. And sometimes what we do is we try to do it so much that we exhaust ourselves. So to that point, Marlene, one of the things that a lot of people, I think, who are in that service space struggle with, is it okay if I just help one person? Is it okay if I only teach one class? Is it okay if I just coach a few people? We all have this dream, like, what if I'm on stage and serving thousands and everyone's, doing whatever? And we forget that every single person who's in service, if we all come to service at the same time, like we said earlier, if everyone picks up that piece of trash, there's no thing that you do that's too small. And I think one of my struggles is, because a lot of my lessons were learned in sports, that I have this thing that I always want everyone watching, or I want to get as many people as I can, or one touchdown or one basket's not good enough, or one three-pointer's not good enough. I want 5 3-pointers. Screw it. I want 20. Well, if I'm going to get 20, why don't I get 30? And maybe that's a fault of my own, but I also figure if I'm going to die trying to serve as many as I can, I've just got to find that baseline that it doesn't exhaust me, and simultaneously, as we always talk about, love myself enough so that I can realize that I'm doing my best while simultaneously helping others, if that makes sense. What else you got, Chris? Any thoughts about what we should...
Can you say that again? You froze.
Yeah.
No, dude, beautiful. No, seriously, beautiful. I mean, you that's why I like co-hosting with you, because you just come up with the most, authentic messages from your heart. And that's how I know they're from your heart, because I don't tell you shit. I mean, we don't plan anything about the show. We say,
and I can never say it back.
We here's the guest, and here's kind of the direction we want to go in. That's kind of what we do. I mean, that's the beauty about life, is that, really honestly, building upon that thought, God, is like, if you just treat life as that, like it's unfolding. Like, remember the cartoon? And I remember this is a fear when I had surgery, but when I had surgery, I remember the floor was disappearing in front of me. Remember that cartoon where the floor was disappearing in front of you? That's kind of like life. You know, the floor is disappearing in front of us. Whether you're 40 years old, whether you're 20 years old, whether you're 70 years old, the floor is disappearing in front of us, and we don't realize how fast it really is. And we're taking for granted that we're going to have tomorrow. We're taking for granted that we're going to be able to hope, wish, and pray that things are going to change. We hope that the definition of insanity is actually wrong, that if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, we're going to get different results, right? We think that by reacting, we're actually in control of the situation, but instead, if we actually pump the brakes and respond, which one of my coaching clients has done this week, he's like, oh my God, dude, just telling me to pump the brakes. Because I asked him, I said, just pump the brakes and ask yourself, this is going to matter in 5 minutes or 5 hours. Is this really going to matter in 5 minutes or 5 hours? Is this something you just have to respond to right now because you feel like you have to be the authoritative person in the situation? Because I could tell that's what his ego was telling him to. He's like, dude, the pump the brake things. He goes, I don't even remember what I pumped the brakes on the last 10 minutes. I'm like, good. That's perfect. You don't need to be doing those things. So, you know, to have us be cognizant that at any particular moment in time, I just had a friend of mine, she died of a brain aneurysm. She was younger than I was. And I know her and I know her mom. Literally, boom, lights out, game over, end of story, no more. You know, anytime we can all go, anytime anything can happen. We could get a different diagnosis. We could have something happen to our family or our loved ones or our kids. God forbid. Oh my God, I would be a mess. So what do we have? We have this particular moment. And that's what we guys share with you guys every single week, vulnerably, transparently. You have this. Like, I need to get off of this so I can go pay attention to that. Otherwise, I'm going to be in trouble. But you guys have to understand, this is what we have, these moments. And when you focus on those moments and you string them together, you have a good moment with your kids, you have a good moment with your grandparents, you have a good moment with it, and you string a good moment with a stranger, a good moment and you string those together. That's what makes a kick-ass life. Scott, sorry.
So I love it. And you actually just gave me like 50 ideas. So maybe I can help people think of, a few. Okay. So the word moment, I feel like is a crucial one, but I also, we both met through Speaking to the Heart podcast network. I always had a problem with speaking to the heart, always, because speaking to the heart to me could be coming from ego to heart. So I had an issue with that, but it wasn't my network. Speaking from the heart was what it always should have been. That might be the name of the show for a lot of reasons. And you know exactly where I'm coming from.
Yep.
What do you guys think of Speaking from the Heart? The Speaking from the Heart podcast, Speaking from the Heart show? Because we could turn this into a podcast, start keeping it to an hour, which we've talked about. And we could actually start keeping this as a podcast, a co-podcast. The Speaking to the Heart podcast. Speaking from the Heart. Yeah, I've said it so many times it's saying it wrong, but it always should have been Speaking from the Heart. I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm sold. I love it.
All right, well, go enjoy your vacation / anniversary / 2 minutes alone free. Pretend that you don't have a kid. Enjoy yourself.
I will. We love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this community, bringing your questions, bringing your engagement every single week. We love each and every one of you. I love you, Scott. You're an amazing soul. You're an amazing game changer in the world. I'm so proud to be alongside of you in this podcast, in our coaching program, and in everything else in life. So I just love you and respect you and wish you and everybody else in your family the best possible weekend. I know you're going through your own challenges, and I just send to the rest of you guys watching and listening to this, either live on the replay, I send you a lot of love and light. And I know that you're going through a lot of shit. We're all going through a lot of shit. But just remember, in the moments we can focus on what we can have faith in or what we can have disbelief in. That's our choice. We can have, like Victor, like you said, Scott, we can have faith that it's going to work out. It may get fucked up, but it's going to work out. So I just love you guys.
And remember, I want to end on that one thing, and all the same things that you just said right back at you 1,000%. Love you. Totally appreciate everything that you do. I know we're in, alignment there. I want you guys to think of something. I started the show on it and I wanted to finish the show on it. I am okay. I do not feel okay. You are okay. You may not feel okay. But don't forget, if you're speaking from the heart is source. So at source, everything is perfect. You are perfect. We're living a human existence right now. And with that duality and contrast, we have emotions, we have feelings. So if you are like us and you're not feeling okay, we understand. And we're there to serve you. We love you, and we want to make sure we continue to help you. So stick with us. We'll help you. We appreciate when you help us along the way too. I might have gotten a little crazy tonight, and hopefully you enjoyed it because you got to see another side of me. But it's all real, raw and unscripted for Chris right there.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Oh, Ben
What's up,
joined
BH?
us. All
What's
right,
up,
Ben.
BH?
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
For coming by. We appreciate it.
Yes,
Love you
we
guys.
love you guys.
Go
Have a great
enjoy your
one.
life, Chris. Go get into Santa Barbara life, or I know it's a little north of there. Enjoy it.
I will, brother. Thank you so much, man. Love you.
Peace. Love you guys.
Peace.
Take care.